Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975. It's a question down there. Will video games ever become too realistic? The reason I ask this is, it seems to me, right, and this is not a new question, it's been knocking around, you know, forever, but it seems to me that it always rears its head. We're on the cusp of a new generation of system, and the promise of wonderful new graphical prowess, you know, starts to filter down to us, and it ultimately always comes down to, oh, we're going to be able to do more realistic games. And as I said, it's nothing new. I think my first sort of real experience or exposure to it, I should say, would be the introduction of 16-bit systems, because that was a big leap forward over, you know, the 8-bit systems, and it was always about, yep, this is it. Now we're going to be able to do more realistic stuff. And then you start things like Mortal Kombat. When that came out, people were like, oh my god, it looks like life. Sure, it's crude by today's standards, but back then, you know, it was a big deal. I mean, I'm sure that's their angle when they released it in the arcade, just look, real digitized people. But yeah, it got me thinking, and as I said, will video games ever become too realistic? Because think about why you game. It's about sort of escapism. It's about having a laugh. It's about, you know, forgetting the moment, having fun. It's escaping from your day-to-day life and your woes. The more realistic that something becomes, doesn't it start to drift towards being a simulator? Now, don't get me wrong, simulation is good, important, and has its uses, you know, like such as a training tool or a learning tool to teach people new skill sets, you know, like flying and driving and stuff like that, without exposing them to any sort of, you know, the hazards or the dangers of, you know, that environment in real life. And that's good. And I guess you could also argue that acquiring a new skill set or learning something is somewhat of an enjoyable experience itself. But there's a big difference between simulation and playing video games. And I can honestly say, I mean, I'm not going next gen, but if I was, I can honestly say I don't know if I want, you know, to be in a world with 100% realistic or photorealistic. That was the phrase I always chucked around, photorealistic. Yeah, I don't know if I want to be in that world where we have 100% realistic looking video games. You know, I think there's a certain charm about the fact that stuff looks like a video game. I mean, I think it's incredibly impressive now, and it does stuff that we wouldn't have even dreamed of years ago. But when people say, like, well, think about it, you can pop on a helmet and it's like you're actually there. Well, then I say, go there. You know, and people say, well, you could play like virtual reality football. Well, just bloody play football. I think if we ever get to that stage where the line is blurred between, you know, something being able to perfectly look like it does in the real world, I don't know, is it a step too far? It is in my book, you know, but there is no right or wrong answer, which is why I'm asking it. I think I don't know, I don't know we need to go there. You know, I mean, it probably is a long way off, I know that, but as I said, simply because new systems are coming out, and, you know, it always comes down to when a new system comes out. Let's be honest, and this is why I like Nintendo's recent route, but let's be honest, more often than not, you market a system on its graphics, or, you know, the potential quality of its graphics, and yeah, I don't know, I think there will be a stage when realism in video games is too much, you know. Do you need it to look like the real world, is what I'm saying. You know, I mean, maybe it's because I'm a retro gamer and there's something I find certainly appealing and charming about Mario and Sonic and stuff like that, and big chunky cartoony sprites, you know, and I'm just being sort of very traditional. But what do you think? I'm waffling, it's kind of hard to pin this topic down, but do you think there really will be a point when that's it, you know, the video games are too realistic, you know, now we're kind of missing the point of what they're there for, which is fun and escapism, you know, when you can ultimately simulate something perfectly from real life 100%, then why would you do that? I don't know. Love to know what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.